It isn't just the economy that is on the verge of collapse, Michael Snyder reports. We're in far more trouble than most people realize. In recent months, our rapidly growing economic problems have gotten a lot of attention, and without a doubt, our economy is heading into really hard times. The greatest debt bubble in the history of the world has just started to implode, and the end of this mega cycle is going to cause an immense amount of pain. But if every other element of our society was strong, we could survive that. It may surprise a lot of you to hear me say that, but it's true. If all that we are facing was an economic collapse, it would cause an enormous amount of turmoil in this country, but we would make it through. Unfortunately, we're not just facing an economic collapse. I like to call what we're facing an everything collapse, because virtually every element of our society is steadily breaking down right in front of our eyes. So once our economic and financial systems implode, it won't just be a matter of patching them up and returning to normal, because normal does not exist anymore. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. The president of Giant Food just admitted to the Washington Post that theft at his stores is completely out of control. He said Giant Food President Ira Chris said that theft and violence have risen significantly over the past several years. To say theft has risen tenfold in the last 5 years would not be an understatement, Kress noted, according to the Washington Post, which also reported that the man said that violence has increased exponentially. Giant has more than 160 locations, with stores located in Maryland, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and Delaware, according to its website. When I was much younger, I would often shop at Giant Food. In those days, I never witnessed a single shoplifting incident. But now systemic looting is happening and on an industrial scale all over the nation. In fact, I recently wrote an entire article about the fact that theft is now costing U.S. retailers more than $100 billion a year. Meanwhile, other forms of crime are spiking as well. Sadly, violent crimes are increasing, being committed by children that are extremely young. As soon as he confronted the masked youth who seemed to be trying to rob him with a weapon last week on Irving Street in northern Washington, Ryan Cummins knew the assailant was young. When I shoved him, he weighed nothing, Cummins said in an interview. Police said the youth they arrested on Saturday in Cummins' case and 2 nearby robberies is even younger, 11 years old. He's among the youngest arrested in the district this year in an armed robbery. Did you catch the last part? The kid was among the youngest in this type of a crime. How old was the youngest? On the West Coast, conditions are even worse. The following is how one San Francisco resident named Shima Gokal recently described what living in the heart of the city was like these days. Speaking with Fox Digital, Seema Gokal, who lives near the city's Tenderloin neighborhood, expressed that it really feels post-apocalyptic. Something needs to be done. We have to make this a livable place. I describe it as a hellhole right now. If I wasn't a homeowner and had not grown up in the area and there was not a strong job market in the area, I would leave, she said. I walk by people regularly and it feels horrible, she said, as drug addicts have needle tracks all over their arms, legs, toes. I see people with rotting limbs because they're living on the streets. It honestly feels like I'm in a place that's been in a zombie apocalypse. It's like a dystopia. It really feels like a dystopian reality right now, where I see boarded up storefronts. I see people defecating on the streets, she said, in detail. Sadly, this is the direction that the entire country is going. Up in Portland, voters are completely and totally fed up with the rampant social decay that has been steadily growing all around them. Months of stepping past sidewalk homeless camps and open-air drugs markets have taken their toll on residents of Portland, Oregon. Voters there have delivered a stunning rebuke to officials of the Democrat-run hipster city, with 3/4 calling homelessness an out-of-control disaster. The survey, commissioned by People for Portland, a conservative advocacy group, found that more than 2/3 of voters wanted to clear the streets by forcing drug addicts into rehab. But no matter what our politicians do, the social decay gets worse with each passing year, and that's because our entire culture has been completely transformed. According to one recent survey, only 16% of Americans now attend church at least once per week. The number of Americans who attend church once a week fell from 19% in 2019 to 16% last year, says a survey of some 6,600 adults across all 50 states. This means that 85% of us do not attend church at least once per week at this point. If we could go back and tell Americans from 100 years ago this, they would be absolutely floored. Of course, the truth is that we are a completely different country than we were 100 years ago. Many of us like to think that we are superior to every generation that has come before us, but the reality of the matter is that just about every aspect of our society is rapidly getting worse. If we're having this much difficulty keeping order now, what are things going to look like once our economic and financial systems have fully imploded and tens of millions of Americans are deeply suffering? You might want to think about that, because the everything collapse, quote unquote, is only going to pick up steam in the weeks and the months ahead. And this is by Michael Snyder. He says about the author, "My name is Michael, and my brand new book entitled End Times is now available on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 6 other books that are available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, Commissions Earned. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing, and one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short, and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I've also started a brand new Substack newsletter, and I encourage you to subscribe so that you won't miss any of my articles. I've published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the Most Important News. And the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely a great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. And this is on the Economic Collapse blog by Michael Snyder. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.